Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. Today I'll be reviewing the S.H.Figuarts Dragon Ball Z Zarbon True Power version. Now this is a premium Bandai figure. The previous Zarbon and Dodoria were premium Bandai as well, and this is another release in the long running S.H.Figuarts Namek saga. It seems that with every announcement and every release, we have finished the line, unless they tackle something super niche, and usually that's what they do. And look, I'd be lying if I said that the powered up true form of Zarbon wasn't suspiciously absent from the lineup up until now, but having Guru didn't really feel super necessary. It's cool that it's happening, but it's really expensive and barely an articulated figure. The nail is really cool actually, and I really am looking forward to when that releases. That one felt somewhat necessary, but because of how long the line was going on, I just never thought they'd do it, so it is cool that that one's happening. The new Krillin looks really cool as well, but we are really spending a lot of time with this Namek line, and the Android Saga, Cell Saga, Boo Saga, all of that feels like it's almost been left by the wayside. It hasn't, but it almost feels like it has. We are getting the 3.0 Goku soonish, which looks really cool, and the tease of the Cell Saga Gohan and everything like that, it just feels like they're amping up to something that we don't know when it's going to happen, because surely it's a new second stage and perfect Cell, because we've never had the semi-perfect form of him in a Figuarts form, and the perfect Cell is quite frankly a little bit too old at this point. Anyway, I have been waffling on too much. This is Zarbon's True Power. It is an interesting figure, and I do think it's a little bit divisive, but in general it is a nice one. So taken out of the box, here's what Zarbon comes with. We get 2 plastic shells in it. It is a beefy box, and it is also a beefy figure. So in the first shell we get the figure itself as well as his alternate faces. He's got 4 faces in total, and in the second shell we get his cape, hands, as well as 2 alternate hair pieces. It's not a crazy big loadout, but the original Zarbon didn't have too much going on either. It did come with a powered up Namekian Dragon Ball, but so did most of the other figures at that point in time. But in terms of relaying the same sort of feeling of the figures, the hands and accessories are very similar. The face is way different, obviously, but having 2 different hair pieces was something that they did with that Zarbon as well, and it was pretty cool then, and it's pretty cool now. It is just nice to have options for dynamic range whenever available. But taken out of the box and put on a display, here is Zarbon's True Power, and he looks pretty good. I do think that there is something a bit off with his proportions. He's either a little bit too bulky or a little bit too short. I'm not quite sure which. Granted, Dragon Ball Z's style changes constantly in the middle of fights, and we don't see him standing stock still all that often, so it could be taken from a very specific angle, but it just feels like he might be a little bit too bulky or a little bit too short. I'm not 100% sure, but as a figure itself looks really nice. The detailing all over is good, much like a lot of the S.H.Figuarts these days. Not a whole lot of paint. What's there is nice, but in general there's no shading or anything. This figure could have used shading a bit as well, because it would have made the light flesh tones pop just a bit more, but the face details at least are spot on, like they have been doing with the Dragon Ball lines in the last few years. And here he is next to the original Zarbon. So you can see height-wise they are very similar, but bulk is completely different. It is nice that color-wise it is pretty much exactly the same, so it does match fairly well that way. And you can see the sort of change that the True Power really takes on him. And in general, this is a very hefty figure and would fit with a lot of the other bulky Dragon Ball Figuarts that they've done over the years. Now, for posability, it's actually not too bad considering the size. So he's got a ball joint in the head and neck, which allows for a pretty okay range of motion. A lot more being done by the neck than it is the head. The ponytail is on a ball joint. His shoulder pads can be removed completely, and there is a hinge system on them, a little similar to what they did with Turles. His arms can rotate all the way around. They can butterfly out. They can hinge up. There's a swivel at the upper arm, bend at the elbow, blocked somewhat by the muscles, and a ball joint at the wrist. There's a ball joint in the chest, which allows for some pretty good crunching. Not so much side to side, but if you work the waist and chest, you get a really, really good crunch. The cape is on a hinge. You can do the splits that far. You can kick forward and back that far. There's a swivel at the upper thigh. Double bend at the knees. Pivot and hinge at the ankle and toes. And that's about it. The range of motion is actually pretty good considering the bulk of the figure. Reminds me a bit of the Dodoria figure, where he's very, very bulky but surprisingly articulated, and it's a similar case here. He is somewhat limited by the actual structure of the body itself, but in general you can get just about any dynamic-ish looking pose that you want out of it. The real problem comes down to the actual weight of the figure, so aerial dynamic poses are pretty much a no-go unless you have more than one stand, because a regular stand is not going to do it unless it's like a really, really heavy duty with a really thick and strong clip. In terms of faces, we get a good range of expression, I feel. So we've got this sort of smirking face out of the box, which looks very, very nice. We've got a mouth open, shouting laugh, which looks incredible. We've got a really wide-mouthed grin with all his teeth showing, which looks really, really sinister. And we get a mouth open, shouting face, shocked face, sort of like reacting to what's happening. All of these faces look absolutely fantastic. I do actually feel like we should have more reaction faces, not just like reaction in terms of like being hit or damaged, although that does help a bit. But just reaction in terms of surprise is really nice as well, because you can use that for battle, and you can also use it for goofy posing and things like that. But it is a very, very nice expression, and they've utilized it fantastically here. And with those faces, you can get Zarbon into some really nice poses. Again, very, very hard to do anything super dynamic that requires balance without a stand or a very, very sturdy stand. So a lot of my poses ended up being on the ground, but he does hold his weight pretty well considering it is a very, very top-heavy figure. The legs are surprisingly sturdy and can hold up this weight pretty much no problem, which is nice. Pairs well with other figures and can even support the weight of other figures. I had him holding the Vegeta that released last year. I think it was the 24,000 power level one, and that was no issue. So the weight distribution on the figure is actually really, really good, or at least it worked for me in just like balancing it just right. It's more just sort of grounding the figure and leaving it as is, but you can get him into some somewhat dynamic poses. You just need to be careful with it. And I had a pretty good time with the figure overall. It's not my favorite S.H.Figuarts by any means, and I do prefer regular Zarbon over this one, but it is a really good figure to have to round out the set a little bit more. I am too far gone to back out now because I've already got so many of the Dragon Ball Figuarts. At some point I will probably stop, but the ultimate goal for this channel is to review every single Dragon Ball S.H.Figuarts at some point, and I am working on it slowly, but I feel like this one does definitely help round out that Namek saga just a bit more. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed that video, and I will see you all next time. Oh hi, I didn't see you there. As you can see, I'm hard at work making new videos for the channel. Now, while I'm happy with where the channel is right now, I could use your help. By liking, commenting, and subscribing to the channel, it helps out the YouTube algorithm and recommends my channel to more people. So if you like any of my videos, please let me know, it really helps out. And if you liked this one, please let me know too. It means a lot to me, and I really, really appreciate all of you guys.